Hi guys, and welcome to my garden. This is my first official garden tour. My garden is very new. This is the second season that I'm gardening in this space, so there's a lot of projects going on. Right now we are in the middle of putting irrigation because unlike in my old garden, the water here just doesn't fall from the sky during the gardening season. So irrigation here is a must if I want to grow on the bigger scale. The second project that we have going on is getting rid of competition from perennial grasses, dandelions, clovers, bindweed, you name it, we probably have it here because the garden was very overgrown. So what we do, we just sheet mulch with cardboard and put wood chips on top to suppress the weeds, and also we do a lot of hand weeding and just use other methods. But I wanted to show you this garden from almost the beginning, even though there are projects going on, because I want you guys to see it, how it evolves over time as the projects get completed, as I plant more plants, and how it gets better and better. So let's go and take a look. This is the main pathway connecting all the beds. And here is the irrigation pipe waiting to be installed. The first bed, it is a work in progress. I actually have to redo this bed completely because I did make a mistake and did not sheet mulch the pathway right here where that irrigation pipe is to kind of create a barrier from the grass that is growing around the fruit trees. And what happened was the couch grass and other plants just start creeping in. So we will have to redo this bed completely once the irrigation project is finished. But on a good note, I do have some lettuce growing and actually growing very well. I will be harvesting it soon just so we can redo this bed, and of course it is also getting ready to be harvested. The next bed, I'm actually the most proud of this bed. This is where my garlic is growing. This was the first bed that we prepared, and we actually prepared last fall, because here garlic you have to plant in the fall, and the garlic is doing very well. It's very tall and the stems are very strong, so I'm very happy about that. We amended the soil with horse manure because garlic likes a lot of nitrogen, and that's why it's probably doing so well, because it got all the nutrients that it needs. In the second part of this bed, we are growing leeks. They are very small now, so I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'll try to get a close-up. Like this guy right here, it's also doing very well, it's very strong. But like you can tell here, I have a Bermuda grass moving in, so I really have to keep up with weeding Bermuda grasses everywhere. It's a lot of work, but hopefully we will win this battle and the leeks will succeed. The next bed is filled with potatoes. Let me get a shot to show you guys the whole bed. Okay, so here it is. This is the whole bed filled with potatoes, except for chives growing here right at the beginning of the bed. We will move them eventually, but for right now, I think they just at least provide some interest. And the potatoes are doing very well. You can already see them coming out of the soil. Like for example, this guy right here. And the grass of course too. This guy already came up, and so did this one. So I hope we will have a good potato harvest. If those potatoes do well, then we should have potatoes to last us the whole year, I'm hoping. We are growing 11 different varieties, and I made a video about the varieties that I'm growing. If you guys missed the video, I will link it in the description. In the next bed, we have onions. This one right here is pretty nice. It has 3 leaves and it's looking very healthy. But let me get a close-up on one that is not doing too well. Oh, this one right here. It's kind of struggling. It has only 2 leaves. Maybe I need to plant it deeper. So it's not doing too well. Well, I hope it will get better. Oftentimes onions look like that at the beginning of the season, and they just improve as the season go by. Like this one right here, it's like it has like yellow leaf here, but I can already see a small leaf, third leaf forming. And of course with onions we want them to have a lot of leaves because each leaf is an onion ring, so the more leaves the bigger bulb. And in order for them to produce many leaves, I also amended the soil with horse manure that has a lot of nitrogen that helps with growing leaves. The next bed is Brassica's bed, and I'm using a little bit different method here with controlling weeds. I laid burlap bags to suppress the plants that want to grow here, just so I don't have to deal with maintaining the whole bed. In this bed I have cauliflower and cabbages growing, 3 different varieties of cabbage and 2 different varieties of cauliflower. Let me see the tag here. Yeah, this one is cabbage. I will put all the varieties that I'm growing on the screen. But they are doing very well. They're extremely healthy, and the burlap bags really help with weed pressure. I still have to go and check kind of like in the open area, like here, like the dandelion is growing. But for the most part, it is very easy to maintain. So I hope all these brassicas will do very well. Let's move on to the next bed. I have to take a big step. And here you go, we have tomatoes. They are not growing in the bed yet, but they will be soon. This bed, let me get a shot from farther away. This whole bed will be designated to tomatoes. We will be building trellises, but for now we have kale growing, and the kale is also doing very well. Big leaves. It will be harvested soon. I might leave few plants if I have room. If not, I will just harvest them and make room for tomatoes, peppers and basil that will be growing in this bed. And here are my tomato plants. They are not planted, but they will be planted soon, hopefully this week. They are doing pretty well. I see some purple leaves on some of the plants, but I guess that's normal. They're just ready to be put in the ground. There is a little tomato forming. I will not remove it. I know a lot of people remove fruit and flowers from tomatoes that formed before they got planted in the ground. I don't really do that. I did an experiment a couple of years ago, and I didn't really see any difference in performance. So I'm just letting them be. And look how many flowers this one has. Oh, I can't wait to plant them. I'm growing 22 tomato varieties, and I did make a video about the varieties that I'm growing, so I will also link it in the description. Oh, look at this guy. Just wants to grow. So I've uncovered the bags to let this guy grow, and I will move it to the orchard. I like this plant. It's not the Bermuda grass, it's a different kind of grass that it looks very fun and fluffy. So I will let it live. Oh, this is the next bed, and you guys can tell it really needs work. But I wanted to show you guys this bed because this is something we had to deal with at the beginning. All these plants were growing in the garden. We have bindweed, dandelions. I think this is alfalfa and wild mustard, I think. So basically this whole garden was covered with vegetation like this. And now with all the wood chips and pathways and some of the beds that we already weeded, at least it's under control, because this was really overwhelming. But we started working on this bed, and at the beginning of the bed we planted strawberries. And they're doing well. This one is actually forming fruit. These are the June-bearing strawberries, so they will produce of early summer, and that would be it. They're not the ever-bearing kind. But eventually we want to fill this whole bed with strawberries. Maybe we'll get to do it this year. Behind me, we sheet mulched with cardboard and put some sawdust. We have to get more. Not this year, but next year I'm planning on doing part shade garden here and plant vegetables that do well in shade, like for example chard, spinach, and lettuce. I heard lettuce also does well in part shade, so I will experiment with that, but not this year. Also behind me we have fruit trees. The first tree is an apple tree. We have a couple of nectarines and 4 cherry trees, and the last one is almond tree. The last bed is the biggest bed. I laid it with cardboard just like the pathways, but instead of putting wood chips, I covered the cardboard with sawdust. And the reason why I did that is because I'm planning to plant vegetables here. Here actually cucumbers and melons will be growing. At least I will give it a try. The reason I want to grow cucumbers and melons here is because of the fence. This fence came with the property, and I think it's gonna be a perfect trellis for cucumbers and melons. And what I will do, I will just uncover the sawdust from the spot where I want to plant, and I will make a hole and just put the plant in that hole, because I don't want to mix sawdust with soil, because of course as it decomposes it will rob soil from nitrogen. That's why I just want to make sure that as little sawdust as possible gets in contact with the soil. So I will just do the hole and plant one plant at a time and cover it with some good compost, and hopefully this will work. For the most part this bed is under control, but you can tell that I still see some plants going through, in this case dandelion, and then we of course have the Bermuda grass. So I will have to do some maintenance, but still it is much more manageable than, for example, oh, look at the bird. Yeah, this bird just nests. Last year it had a nest in the garage under the roof, and this year I think the same bird came back because they use the same nests. I'm thinking it's the same couple, but yeah, at least it is more manageable. So let's continue on. Let's go up this pathway. Oh, here's my shovel that I used to dig the trench right here. The trench is gonna be used for irrigation pipe. So yeah, a lot of work here. Look at my garlic, isn't it beautiful? I just absolutely love this bed. I just wish that my whole garden looked like that. It will one day, one bed at a time. But what I wanted to show you is the rhubarb. Isn't it amazing? Look how big it is. It is ready to be harvested, but I wanted to wait until I show you guys the rhubarb in its full glory. And this is a currant bush, red currant. We actually got a lot of fruit last year. This came with the property. I planted some more currant bushes around the cherry trees, but they're still small. And I actually brought them from my old home with me. They traveled across the country, so I'm gonna have a lot of red currant. But this one came with the property, and it's loaded with fruit. Hopefully the birds will not eat them all. Robins really like them. Last year the little babies were actually hiding in this bush. We have 3 peach trees here. And they produced last year, and hopefully this year they will produce as well. I'm still deciding what to do with the area around the trees. I really want to sheet mulch, just like I did the pathways, because I feel like, especially the Bermuda grass, it will be constant battle. I will, of course, this year provide a barrier here and sheet mulch the pathway leading to the first bed. But the area around fruit trees, I think I will tackle in the fall. But I'm still thinking what to do with it. Next we have horseradish. Actually, if I planted the horseradish, I didn't plant this, this came actually with the property, but if I did plant horseradish in my old home, it would just totally take over the garden. But this one here just kind of stays in this spot. So it's kind of interesting how plants perform differently and behave differently in different climates. And I'm very happy to have it here. Here is our irrigation filter. We are actually using pool filter. It's kind of an experiment. And irrigation pipe and extra cardboard and beautiful peony bush. It's about to open. And last thing I wanted to show you guys in this garden, it's my grapevine. It is 100 years old. It is a legend here in the valley. A lot of neighbors know this grape, and they told us that the fruit is just so delicious. So I can't wait to taste it. Last year we didn't get to enjoy them because of the early frost the previous year. But let me get a close-up because I already see leaves sprouting, and actually I see some fruit forming too. Right here. Yeah, so hopefully we will enjoy grapes this year and experience this wonderful flavor that the neighbors were telling us about. Look at this trunk, how big it is. I did some major pruning because a lot of branches were dead. I still have to shape it. It was just very neglected, but it will take me a few years to really get to the shape that I want. But I will include a picture of what it looked like when we bought this property. It was really a sculpture. A beautiful plant. Is just, of course, it was neglected, so it needed pruning. So I really hard pruned it, I hope. And I hope it's gonna, for sure it's gonna survive because it's already alive, but I hope it's just gonna be happier. But we'll see. So this concludes my first official garden tour. It is only late May, so I have whole season to finish all the projects and to plant all the plants that I want to plant. And I'm so excited to take you guys on this journey with me. I will be posting regular videos throughout the season to keep you guys updated on how everything is doing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.